The Denver Nuggets shockingly lost to the Portland Trail Blazers last night, and head coach Mike Malone, well, he pulled no punches when explaining what's going on with his team right now. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Joining me, Donnie Freeman. Donnie, this I was shocked. I could not believe, given that they're in the middle of a playoff race right now. I know no Nikola Jokic, but I still could not believe that we saw the Denver Nuggets lose to the Blazers.
Yeah, it's just another sign that, the Blazers, they've been kind of feisty over the last few months here. Like that's not a gimme on the list there that you're looking at anymore. The way that they've been playing, they've been getting great production from guys like Donnie. He's been absolutely killing it, and you see why they went out of their way to try to acquire him or to acquire him last year. And some of their guys are starting to round into form, some of their younger guys. But regardless, if you're Denver, yeah, they're without Jokic, and that's a commentary that you can have about how valuable he is to this team.
Sure.
Just in general, he's extremely valuable to this team. This team doesn't function. They don't have the depth. They don't function anywhere near the same. But you would have still liked to sneak that win out. And unfortunately, yeah, in a playoff race, you can't lose games like that.
Yeah, this is a must-win here. Donnie Avdija, 36 points, 8 boards, 7 assists, 3 steals. And you're right, Donnie, maybe, so much of the narrative, the talking points have been, oh my God, what's wrong with Denver? Maybe a piece of this should be, hey, let's give some credit to the Blazers and what they've been doing lately, and that they can have these performances. Things certainly looking up right now in Portland. If they get the guy, I think Portland is a team that could take a big leap next year if they get a little lottery luck. If they wind up being the team that captures the flag, if they wind up getting one of those top prospects and that winds up being their guy, this could be a team that could take a Detroit Pistons type leap. Yeah. Maybe not next season, but within the next couple of seasons. I think the foundation is there. They're just looking for the guy to add to this group, and it can really pour gasoline on the fire. But we look at the Denver Nuggets. We see that they did 20 turnovers on the night. And again, Jamal Murray did play in this one. Didn't make a huge 10 points, didn't make a huge impact, but still 20 turnovers on the night. And defensively, the Denver Nuggets are a mess. Now, head coach Mike Malone was asked about his team and the defense they were playing and what was going on. And this is what he had to say. He said, that was embarrassing. That was just a joke. We had 18 blow-bys. I don't know what our guys are thinking with 11 games to go. If we continue to play the way we're playing, we'll be in the play-in. Very simple. I don't think we played with any pride tonight. So could the Denver Nuggets actually land in the play-in tournament? What a turn of events that would be. We'll take a look in just a second. But first, a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports. They do a phenomenal job there. And if you use our promo code Bulletin, click the link in the description down below. You get a guaranteed $50 on your first $5 played. Let's take a look here, Donnie. We'll make a few selections on this one. Some big games tonight. Not a lot of games on this slate tonight, but some important ones nonetheless. Particularly, I see our guy Austin Reeves there.
Yeah, take my demon right there. Take him.
You want to go to demon pick 34.5 points. Now, this is it's looking like, I don't know yet. We've gotten Rui Hachimura. He's going to be back. He's probable. Gabe Vincent is probable. LeBron James still questionable. They could have everyone back, which means the ball in the hands of Austin Reeves less. But still, he's been on a tear lately. What about the same game? Josh Giddey. He's been crushing it on the boards. He gets tons of assists. What do we think there? 34.5.
I think that's easy for him too. He just plays with the ball so much, and he's just such an all-around player.
I mean, basically, he's an 8-8 guy, pretty much every single night, minimum. If not, he's been averaging even more than that over the last 15. So if he scores anywhere around 20 points, he probably does get this. So we'll give him that. And then let's go one more. Oh, Giannis against Sacramento. Halliburton.
Pascal
Siakam, 31 points. Oh, I do like that, especially against Brooklyn. And I think the Pacers are going to need to push down on the gas pedal a little bit. Okay, we'll go there. Oh, look at that, because we got the demon play in there. A $10 entry would get you $75. We got the demon play entry with Austin Reeves, and that ups our payout here. So if you guys want to get in on it, go check out Prize Picks. Use the link in the description down below, and then use that promo code Bulletin. All right, so Mike Malone saying, if my team keeps playing like this, we're going to wind up in the play-in. Now, maybe he's just trying to sound the alarm here and trying to wake his guys up. And I think that's probably what it, but you see here right now, they're 2 games up in the loss column on the Warriors. They're 3 games up in the loss column on the Clippers. So to me, that is still, with just 11 games left, that's a pretty decent cushion there for the Denver Nuggets, but it's also not impossible. And he's right. If they have 18 blow-bys, and right now, the Denver Nuggets, their defensive rating on the season,
it's like 20, right?
Oh my God, 21st. Look, Donnie, this is the bottom line. As dangerous as Denver can be, they're going nowhere. Defend. They're going nowhere. You do not get through the NBA playoffs if you can't defend. They're not going anywhere if they keep playing defense like this. So he's absolutely right to sound the panic alarm here. But do you think they can actually drop to the play-in?
Well, I think that the West, just in general, like it's so close. They've only got like 4 games on the Clippers right now. That's not like there's a decent amount of time left.
The Clippers playing well.
You would think that they wouldn't drop that far, but they're not out of the complete range of that happening right now. And also, I think what matters is like tiebreakers against some of those teams. Minnesota has a really easy schedule. They're going to come up. It's possible if they play these teams, if Denver happens to play either of these teams, which it doesn't look like they do, they play the Timberwolves once. That may be the biggest game that they have remaining left.
Yeah.
But it's totally possible, especially if they lose those games against the Rockets there. I don't know.
They've got the games against the Rockets, Golden State. They have one against that could be big. The game against Golden State. I wouldn't
bet for it to happen, but they play enough games here that are versus teams that are like around or below them that it's possible.
Yeah. And I think that the key is obviously getting Jokic back would matter a ton.
Yeah, you need him back.
But yeah, if they keep defending at this level and they keep Jokic out of action, it's not impossible for them to continue to drop. Again, like you said, though, I think it would be improbable. I think this is Michael Malone trying to wake his team up a little bit and trying to get them to go, whoa, okay, play in? No, we didn't think that was possible. By the way, I'm looking right now. They do have the tiebreaker over the Golden State Warriors right now, so that certainly helps them. I'll take a look at Minnesota here. They've got 1 loss. And Minnesota has beat them pretty handily the last number of times. So they do not have the tiebreaker against Minnesota. That could potentially drop them down into the standings. So
really low on this strength of schedule is still like Minnesota should be expected to make the playoffs proper.
Yeah, Minnesota right now is 24th in the NBA in remaining strength of schedule.
Only West team that low. Hilarious.
The only West team that low.
The only West team in the bottom 10. Holy crap.
Right? Hey, it's nice to be in the Eastern Conference. I can tell you that. It is nice to be an Eastern Conference team. That's all it is. It's the East teams get to play each other.
Yeah, they're all beating up on each other.
That's what it is. The East teams get to play each other. The West teams have to play each other. Let me take a look real quick and see how the tiebreaker looks with Memphis, because they're only 1 game up. Denver is in the loss column, which is the column that we keep an eye on here. Let's see. They're 1-1 there, so we're even. Memphis. Do they play them once more?
That's crazy.
Oh, they do. Oh, they play Memphis April 11th, and that will be the rubber match to determine who owns the tiebreaker. Wow.
That's like the last day of the year, right?
Yeah, that's the second to last game of the season for the Denver Nuggets, and that would determine the tiebreaker between the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. That could actually come in. Now, the Grizzlies are not playing well right now either. The Grizzlies have been having their problems. They've been without John Morant for a bit now, but that, just like we looked, the second to last game of the season for the Lakers and the Rockets as they play each other, and that could be a big game for seeding in the Western Conference. Grizz Nuggets, second to last day game of the season. That could be another one that would go a long way towards deciding how this all plays out.
Yeah, it's not probable, but it's possible. But the thing is that you could say the same thing about a few teams here. Like the West is not outside of, Houston's kind of running away with that 2 seed at this point. But that's going to come down to them versus the Lakers, it looks like, because the Lakers play them a couple more times. But really, outside of the top 2 seeds, maybe just obviously the top 1, all this stuff down to 8 could shuffle. I don't know if it gets that drastic, but I do, like I said, expect Minnesota to climb up. Memphis has been kind of sliding, as has Denver. The Lakers they should be expected to maintain the top seed because they're getting healthy now. They're out of the toughest stretch of their schedule remaining for the most part. Golden State, they've been great, but there's some questions around Steph. I think it's possible. It actually is. But again, you could say that about a few of these teams.
The Nuggets do have the tiebreaker right now over the Clippers, just by virtue of conference record. They're tied at 2 apiece on the season. But the Clippers are 8-2 in their last 10. They're one of the hottest teams in the West. The Warriors are 9-1.
Yeah,
meanwhile, the Nuggets are 5-5. They keep winning at that rate. They could get caught if the Clippers keep winning at that rate and the Nuggets keep struggling. They've lost their last 2 now.
Yeah, Kawhi has rounded into form. He's been really awesome for them, for the Clippers. So I don't know. It's totally a thing. Like I don't think they're safe yet. So we'll see what happens. But the one thing is that, like I said in the very beginning, it just goes to show how valuable Jokic is to this team. This team does not function without Jokic. He is their entire system. It runs off of him. And yeah, they can get feisty and steal a win like they did, against Golden State recently. But that doesn't mean that they'd be able to do much else. And they've still got enough games left here where they need Jokic back.
Exactly. They need him back in action, which, look, that's no surprise or anything. They need him back in action, though, in order to get to where they want to go. Here is how the playoffs would break down right now. If the playoffs were to start today, this is what it would look like.
I love where we're at. I love if we secure 2-3, and I mean LA. Sorry, a little bit of fan bias there.
Hey, come on, Donnie. This is Bulletin.
Stop! You don't get to say that to me. I've been kind of
how the tables have turned.
I've been trumpeting the horn that I would love for them to get 2-3, just to not have to play OKC till the final, conference final if they get there. But for Denver 4-5, that's a tough one. Memphis needs to get healthy, but I don't really know if that's like a match that they would lose. But then they play Thunder next round, which is oof.
Let me ask you this. I think this is a very difficult question here. What if the Warriors move to 5 and the Nuggets stay 4? Who wins that series? Round 1, Nuggets, Warriors.
Fully healthy?
Fully healthy. Both sides fully healthy.
That's a...
And the Nuggets would have home court in that scenario because they'd be 4 and we call the Warriors 5. But wow, I mean that is a tough one to pick. I think
that's a tough one, but I think Golden State should be able to lean on their defense better.
Yeah,
and come away with that. But that seems like a 7-game series to me.
It does. I mean, what a crazy first round matchup that would be, especially because who does Golden State throw at Jokic? How does that work? Do they have anybody that could slow him down? And then conversely, can the Nuggets get enough stops on Curry and play off Jimmy? I mean, my God. So I don't know which way that would go. That would be an insane series, though. And I guess everybody watching, let us know in the comments who would win if it was a Nuggets-Warriors round. Because I think the Nuggets would beat the Grizzlies. I feel pretty confident in that. I think the Nuggets would beat the Grizzlies. But Nuggets-Warriors? Man, flip a coin on that one.
I actually think the Warriors are like a super, like, what's the word? Bad matchup for a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
I know that as Laker fans, typically we're like, oh, poo-poo the Warriors. That's Lakers in 4. Lakers
They're playing
5,
great.
Whatever. They've been great, man. And my thing with the Warriors matchup is that I think that's and of course here the Lakers are facing them. I think that's a hellacious matchup because, for one, you have to chase around Steph the entire time. Mm-hmm. You're going to be fighting through a million moving screens with Dre.
Yeah,
and they're gonna get away with it. But also, it's gonna be a really physical match with Dre and Jimmy and all that. It's gonna be a very draining matchup. So that's my way of looking at it. Is I would prefer not to play them if possible. If I'm being honest, just because of all that.
Yeah, I think that if I'm a West team,
and it's not because I'm scared. I think they would win that series. I just would prefer to avoid them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody should want the easiest path for their team to get through, right? I would prefer, if I am a West team, the Warriors are the round one matchup that I don't want. And obviously the Lakers would be in that mix too if I'm a non-Lakers
Oh
team.
yeah,
But
for sure.
but for West, if you are like if you're the 2 seed and somehow the Warriors slide to 7, you are hating life, right? You're like, seriously, we got the 2 seed just to get this matchup in round 1. So or if you were the 4 seed and the Warriors move up to 5, you're like, oh, come on. That would be they're playing some of the best basketball in the West right now, and I think teams should want to avoid them. In fact, I think teams should prefer avoiding the Warriors over avoiding the Denver Nuggets right now, which is insane and not where I thought we would be just a month ago.
That may very well be true. It's just weird because like we were talking about with the Denver piece is that they don't have the depth outside of Jokic. Now in the playoffs, that you could argue it maybe doesn't matter as much because he's going to play 42 minutes, 44 minutes a night. But they don't have the defense anymore. That's the main thing.
They're awful.
That they don't have the defense. And so they're relying on Bron, Westbrook, some of the other guys that come off their bench that probably aren't going to play many minutes, and then Gordon to really play the defense. But they've got several guys you can target. MPJ is a target. Jokic can be a target. Murray can be a target. So like in the playoffs, when it turns into a lot of slowed down mismatch hunting type of stuff like that. And that's where like a team like the Warriors getting Jimmy is huge because he plays that brand of ball and he will punish you for having a target on the court. Now you could argue that the Warriors would have a target in Steph if they wanted to do that. And Murray would try to match up that way. But how many of those do you have and how do you cover for that? And I don't know that the Nuggets this year have the depth to cover for that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the challenge for Denver is defensively, can they get this done? And then I think the big question is this, I mean, I'm sure you've seen this. Aaron Gordon's 3-point shooting.
Oh yeah.
Is this like really real from Aaron Gordon? I mean, he is absolutely lighting it up. What is he shooting? Like 45%?
Yeah, he's been hot, man.
I mean, unbelievable stuff from him this season. I believe he is, if you factor in like games played and you put a minimum, I believe he's the best 3-point shooter in the NBA right now. Last I looked, he's at 46% from 3, career average 33%. So do we just accept that that's real and that he is just suddenly the best 3-point shooter in the NBA? Or does like the clock strike midnight during the playoffs for Aaron Gordon? This was the dude that you sagged off of. This was the guy that you let shoot from behind the arc, and now suddenly he's a 46% 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be another question for Denver. Is this just he's only played 42 games and it's still small sample size-ish territory and the magic will run out? Or do you buy that this is really what he is? Because that could make a big difference come playoff time too.
Yeah. The thing with him is that if he's making like 1 of 3, then that's good enough for the most part. This is such a big gap that I think he'd probably regress to being a career, like around the career average, 33, 34, 35, probably in the playoffs. But I do wonder about that. I mean, he hasn't played a lot of games, and maybe that's part of why this has been able to persist. But he's been hot out there, and he's been able to shoot legitimately this year. He's shown that a little bit in spurts in his career, so 33% of the career. But I think that the Nuggets, if he's not able to hit that shot, and it's not only him, it's Jokic too. Jokic is still shooting far and away better than he's done. But if he's not able to hit that, they don't have enough 3-point shooting otherwise because Russ is a little bit better last time I checked, but he's still not a shooter. You could still sag off him. And even if the thing is like the Lakers played them recently and they gave these guys those shots and it didn't matter. Like the game where everyone was healthy, it didn't matter because even though they made those shots in that game, there's just not enough firepower if it's not Jokic, and Jokic had a subpar game that game. So you still can designate a few guys to be shooters. Even Bron, who is a good, last time I checked, catch and shoot shooter, you could still designate him because he just won't have the volume. So,
and if that can keep Jokic from getting going, and that's a trap because the Nuggets, their defense is so bad, their offense has to be phenomenal in order to make up for it. But
they have to score to set their defense.
On a minimum of anything more than 30 attempts from 3, which is nothing at this stage of the season, Aaron Gordon has the best 3-point percentage in the NBA.
Oof.
Unreal.
I don't think he's the best shooter in the NBA, so I would bet against it.
46% from behind the arc. Unreal season from him there. All right. Well, Donnie, I think this is where I ultimately land with this. I don't think the Nuggets will actually be a play-in team. I think this is Michael Malone trying to just rally his troops, trying to get the guys to be alarmed, and to kind of wake up with what he's seeing here, especially on the defensive end of the floor. I think that's all this comment is. But if this does not do the job, if this does not wake the Denver Nuggets up, it is not impossible for them to fall into the plan. I will just say it's unlikely. I think that's where I ultimately land here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't realize how possible it was until we started looking at it, that they could actually fall. I thought they were pretty clear, and they probably don't fall that far. But really, I would be concerned about that if I were them. You want to get your guys out there. You can't afford to not have Jokic out there for most of these games remaining. So we'll see what happens.
The teams behind them keep winning, and so it's getting closer and closer and closer. But everybody, give us your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think? Can the Denver Nuggets actually wind up in the play-in? As shocking as that might be, again, give us your thoughts in the comment section, and go check out our latest video about Mark Cuban pulling no punches when asked about the Luka Doncic trade. Go check that out right now.